Today I'm going to talk about called the permutations of the name. The name refers to Hashem, the name of the divine in the Jewish tradition. It's the name that's written in the Torah. The Hebrew letters are the Yah, He, Vav, He. And translated into English, it's Yahha, which the Christians translate as Jehovah or Yahweh or Jah. Um, so it's not said, it's not pronounced. It's written in the Torah in those letters, but it's not pronounced because it's a very powerful name. And they also don't know. So this is the story. Apparently, only the high priest was allowed to say the name um, during the high holy services once a year, I think on Yom Kippur. And he would go into the back of the temple. Uh, that's the room that held the with the Shekinah, with the spirit of the divine dwelt. And actually, where the Western Wall is in Israel, they go and they pray at the Western Wall. That's the back, supposedly the back of where the temple was, and that's where that room would have been, where the Ruach HaKodesh, the energy of Hashem dwelt. Um, so one of the reasons they don't know the name is because supposedly only the high priest knew the name, and that was passed on from high priest to high priest, but then the high priest finished when there was no more temple, there was no more high priest. Maybe it had been kept in some secret societies, and they say, but it got lost. And the reason they don't know how to pronounce it is because Hebrew is written only in consonants. There's no vowels. So we have the YHVH, but we don't know what the vowel sounds are. So so now I'll tell you my relationship to this practice. Uh, from 1990 to 1999, I worked at Yeshiva University in New York City. I was in the MIS, Management Information Systems, computers. And one of the jobs I had a translation. At that point, there was no program to translate from the Hebrew into the English, but I had that one program that did that. And so the president of the university at the time, Dr. Lamb, Dr. Norman Lamb, was a very famous writer, Jewish philosopher. That's why they made him president, because he could attract a lot of money, because he was, renowned. Anyway, um, so he would give me a disc. Those days we had floppy disks. He would give me a disc of the talk, of his essay in the Hebrew, and I would put it through the translation program and then, give back to him. Uh, and of course, every now and then I was like, was not a practicing Jew at all at that time, but I was very curious, always very curious about learning these things. So I remember reading this one essay that he wrote about this mystical meditation that a group of Jews would do during the Middle Ages. And what they would do is they would take that name, which is the four consonants, and they would try every possible vowel combination, permutation. They would permutate the name. So we'd go through um, each of the letters with each possible vowel combination. Well, at that time, I didn't know exactly how you could figure that out. There's 4 or 5 different vowels. There's 4 different, how do you know how long it could take months to go through every possible combination? I really I didn't have the mathematics to figure it out, and I, didn't know the Hebrew well enough. But I thought about it for years, like how fascinating that they would do that. Well, I come to Maui, and I get involved in Judaism. And I start reading this book called the Sefer Yetzirah, which is a very old Kabbalistic book. And the Kabbalah is the mystical aspect of Judaism. And this is an old book. There are a number of books for the Kabbalah. The most famous one is the Zohar, but this is not the Zohar. This was written before. They don't know how old it is. It definitely goes to BC, but they don't know. They have some idea because it was referenced to by other people. Anyway, I'm studying this Sefer Yetzirah with a group of other women, and in the in this book they talk a lot about the letters. So the Hebrew letters, like Sanskrit, it's divine. The letters are divine. The letters are the creative energy of creation. So everything has been created through these letters. I think of it in terms of energy, that is energy to sound, right? Ah. And of course, we know, like in the Sanskrit, the Om is the sound of the universal sound, they say. So, in the same way, each of the Hebrew letters, Yah, He, Vav, He, each of those letters have a power. And each of them actually each of those letters refer to a different, there are four worlds in Judaism. And each of those letters refer to different different dimensions of this universe, different worlds. That's another conversation we can have. At any rate, so I'm reading this Sefer Yetzirah, and in it, in the midst of it, shows up Abulafia, um, explaining how to do this, his form of meditation. I'm not saying the whole name because that would not be allowed, but I'm saying letter by letter with the different vowels. Um, and I have found it to be an extremely powerful meditation. So I hope you enjoyed this, and let me know if you want to know some more discoveries made by Helen Chaya for your benefit. Thank you. Ahui ho, or shalom.